I'm going to handle item 1 and our sample mathematics items Uace. This discussion is going to be mainly for Form 6 students, and we are going to be dealing with pure math. Pure math. We're going to handle 100 numbers. So our aim is 100 numbers till you name. If you break down 100 numbers, there are high chances that some numbers are going to appear in mock and some numbers are going to be appearing in UNEB from what we discuss here. So it's going to be a jackpot for you. So in our item 1, we are having a community group in Gulu is managing the costs for drilling 3 boreholes A, B, and C. The total cost is 25 million shillings. The cost of borehole B was 1 M less than borehole A. The combined cost of boreholes A and C was 3 times the cost of borehole B. Let the cost of drilling borehole A, B, and C be small a, B, and C in Uganda shillings respectively. That is our scenario. It's dealing with boreholes. Then the task is formulate a system of 3 linear simultaneous equations representing the information given. Then part B, by using row reduction, calculate the individual cost of drilling each borehole A, B, and C. Then part C says, if the cost per meter drilled was 250 Uganda shillings for all boreholes, determine the depth of borehole A. So we need to get the money that is spent on borehole A. Later on we shall get the distance or the depth in meters for drilling that borehole A. So I think the question is seen and it's clear. Remember, we have 100 numbers to solve. It's our mission. I want us to crack UNEB like this. I want when all numbers are very familiar. So, what we've seen, borehole A, the cost of drilling borehole A is A. The cost of drilling borehole B is our B. Then C is C, like that. Then it's stated that A plus B plus C. Remember, they said that the total cost is 25 million shillings. And from this statement, the total cost is 25 million. The cost of borehole B was 1 million less than borehole A. So that statement means that if borehole A costs A shillings, it means that A is equal to B plus 1 million. Why? Because B is less than A by 1 million. So if I add 1 million on B, the equation becomes equal. The equation becomes equal. So that is it. Then we move on to the last part, which is says that A plus C is equal to B times 3. It's coming from this point here. The combined cost of borehole A and C was 3 times the cost of borehole B. So the combined cost of borehole A and C is 3 times the cost of borehole B. So it means that this combined cost is greater than B 3 times. So if I want to make the equation balance, I multiply this, the one that is less is what I multiply with by 3 to make it balance there. If you don't do that, the equation is not going to balance. Students, multiply 3 this way times 3, that's wrong. So shall be fast. So our first task is formulate a system of linear simultaneous equations representing the information given. So I'm going to generate them from this summary. 3 simultaneous equations. So the first one is A plus B plus C equal to 25. Then the second one is A minus B is equal to 1,000,000. Then the last one is going to be, remember this one can be written as 3B. That's what I'm going to use. A, this is going to move that side, so it's going to be 3B plus C is equal to 0. So those are the 3 simultaneous equations. So I've decided to turn it to black for clarity. So part A is done. System of 3 simultaneous equations. Part A is finished. Then part B. In part B, by using row reduction, calculate the individual costs for drilling each borehole. So we have methods that we use in solving simultaneous equations. The first method that is very common is substitution. Then the second is elimination. Then the most puzzling one is row reduction, Echelon method. This one is puzzling, but today we have to deal with it. You never know, it may be number one you nab. So this, we shall begin with arranging them. Since we know very well that these simultaneous equations are 3, I'm going to be picking coefficients. I have coefficient 1 here, 1, 1, 1, -1, 1, -3, 1. Those are the coefficients I'm going to pick. So it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, negative 1, 0, 1, negative 3, 1. And close this. Then this is equal to the answers we are having this way, or the money. 25M, 1M, 0. So we're going to write here 25, 1,000,000, and 0. After this, we are going to start reducing. Our aim is going to be making this one a 0 and this one is 0, and this point, these ones have to be zeros. How are we going to do this? We shall follow these procedures. The first is going to be let me copy that. Don't want to repeat steps. So I'm aiming at making this point a 0. This one I want to make it a 0. So how do I make it a 0? I multiply negative 1 with the first row. When I multiply negative 1 with the first row, your solution down is going to be, first write that first row without altering anything. After, so I'm having 2m this way. Don't alter anything. Later on, start multiplying the negative 1 times 1 as you add. So this is what I'm doing. I'm multiplying negative 1 times 1, then plus 1. Then negative 1 times 1 plus negative 1. Negative 1 times this plus 0. Like that. So this is what we're going to have. Negative 1 times 1, that's 1 plus 1, it's a 0. Negative 1 times 1, negative 1. Plus negative 1, that's negative 2. And this one is negative 1. Then, this way it's going to be negative 1 times 25m plus 1m. That's negative 24m. Then, I'm going to do the same thing for this region here. I want to make it a 0. So I multiply negative 1 times the first row as I add the third row. So it's going to be 0 down. And negative 1 times 1 minus 3, that's negative 4. Then negative 1 times 1 plus 1 is a 0. And this is going to be negative 1 times 25 plus 0, negative 25m. It's going to be negative 25m, like that. So the first computation is done. I'm moving on to the last mission. The last mission is to make this one a 0. So how would we make it a 0? We shall multiply 2 up. When I multiply by 2 there, it's going to give me negative 4. So if it gives me negative 4 and I add on negative 4, it gives me negative 8. So if I bring in negative 2, it will give me positive 4 here. When I get positive 4 plus negative 4, that's a 0. So I'm going to use negative 2. Why? Because it's giving me negative, it's giving me a 0 down there. So you've seen that if I want to eliminate the first column or making it a 0, I subtract the first row with the second and the third. If I want to make this second column a 0, I multiply, I subtract the second row with the third row. That is it. Those are the steps. If you understand the steps, nothing's going to bother you. So that is what we have there. So when I multiply it, I have to first maintain the first row. Maintain the first row. 1, 1, 1. Then maintain the second row. 0, negative 2, negative 1. Then on the third row, I will start multiplying. Negative 2 times 0 plus 0 is 0 there. Negative 2 times negative 2, that's positive 4. Positive 4 plus negative 4, that's a 0 there. Then negative 2 times negative 1, that's positive 2, plus 0, that's positive 2. Is equal to, here we have 25 m and we have negative 24. Then we have 2 times negative 24. It's going to give us positive 48. Then when you get positive 48 m and subtract 25, we end up with 23 m. So it's the 23 m that I'm going to write here. 23 million. So this is what we have. After getting this, I'm going to bring back my unknowns. So I'm going to say I'm having 1, 1, 1, 0, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 0, 2. I multiply it with A, B, and C. These are the unknowns we are looking for. And 25m, negative 24m, and 23. So we shall go back to our row by column multiplication of matrices, row multiplied with the column. But for this case, I'm going to begin with the lower row. I'm going to begin with this. So it's going to be 0 times A plus 0 times B plus 2 times C is equal to 23. And this part is giving us a 0. So I'm going to remain with 2C equal to 23 million. Then divide by 2. Divide by 2 there. I remain with 23 divided by 2. It's going to give us 11,500. Yeah, that is it. 11,500,000 shillings. Then the other part is going to be, I'm going to multiply this row by those two, by those columns there. So it's going to be 0. This is done 0 times A plus -2 times B minus 1 times C equal to -24 million. So this is going to give us -2B minus C equal to 24. So if you multiply through by negative, the whole system becomes positive. So it's 2B plus C. I already know the value of C. I'm going to fill it in like that. So this is equal to 24. Then when I move this that side, it's going to be 2B equal to 24 minus 11.5. We end up with, we shall end up with 12,500,000. When I divide by 2, I end up with B equal to B equal to 6,250,000 shillings. That's B. So it's the cost of drilling borehole B. And this was the cost for drilling borehole C. So we are going to obtain the cost of drilling borehole A through this. Remember, we were given the total amount. We were told that the cost of drilling all the boreholes is going to be 25 million. Total cost is 25 million. So if I have the cost of drilling 2 boreholes, the last borehole is going to be subtraction. So cost for borehole A is going to be this 25 M minus the total 6,250,000 plus the other one is 11,500,000. 11,500,000. You end up with 7,250,000 shillings. So that is the cost. Then we move on to the other number. If the cost per meter drilled is, if the cost per meter drilled was 250 shillings for all boreholes, determine the depth of borehole A. So every meter requires 250 shillings to be drilled. This means that for every meter we spend 250 Uganda shillings, and they want us to determine the depth of borehole A. So if we have the total cost for drilling borehole A, I can divide this by this, the 250, and the result will be that the depth. So I'm going to say depth of borehole A is equal to 7,250,000 divided by 250,000. So you end up with 29 meters as the depth. So we've solved the first item. We shall move on to item 2 until we finish these 100 items.